Well, welcome everyone, and welcome back to White Sands Self-Care Community. I am your host and resource for self-care, education, connections, and collaborations. And I know we're going on a little bit early. We had a little bit of a difference with the time change, but I tagged y'all, so hopefully you'll know we're here. And if not, you can always catch it later. But as you know, I love connecting people and bringing you different aspects, different people that can help you in your self-care journey. And I am excited to have Alessandra Veronesi with me today, all the way from Italy. So you can maybe understand the time change that we were having an issue. But anyway, she is an author, speaker. She does guided meditations and helps people work on relationships. And she's got a new book out called A New Banana. So I want to welcome Alessandra for being here. And yeah, tell us, how did you get into that realm of, how did you get started with that? And how did you come up with that title, A New Banana?
Sure. Thank you. First of all, it's thank you for the flexibility. It's so nice to be here, Laura. And you couldn't have summarized it any better. So I might grab those sentences. That's exactly what I'm up to these days. And it's a huge change from where I started, because I initially used to work basically in business, we can say, in a variety of contexts. And like many of us in COVID, I had a breakdown of sorts. And whatever was happening before was no longer, it needed to be reevaluated. And in my case, I found that through meditation, which created a series of new revelations and new ways to deal with old problems that suddenly actually really worked to alleviate some of the anxiety that I was carrying with me in life, which had become my normal. And so much like we live our lives and we realize, one day maybe someone shows us that we have allergies, but we didn't know we had allergies. So we were used to the suffering. That's sort of how I was. I just thought this was life. It's meant to be difficult. It's meant to be, suffering. And in the morning, you have to convince yourself to get out of bed. And this is what it is. And it only makes you stronger. So I had all of these kind of not so kind ways of dealing with my life and myself, which of course contributed to some of my unhappiness in general and feeling like something was missing. So all of that changed when all it really took was to slow down. And luckily I was in, I wasn't worried for having a home, or, I had everything taken care of. So COVID really gave me a chance to breathe and relax and resort my thoughts. And I started understanding, wow, like I can find solutions within myself that seem to be a lot stronger and more helpful than anything I've ever learned or, tried to go after. And it really just, it's a matter of connecting within. And one way to do that is meditation. So once I felt that self-connection moment, I started writing down how I was feeling and how maybe others could reach that place. And I put together like 72 different meditations that are based on specific little topics of our own self-care. And many of those then I repurposed into the book so that the book could serve as a sort of neutral guideline for how to approach relationships from like a lighter, more neutral perspective, starting with the one we have with ourselves. So that's how it all came together.
Right. Well, and you brought up a lot of good points, because I think a lot of us, as we start to, we either accept it as, oh, we're getting older, or it's a part of this. But every time something new comes on, it's like, instead of recognizing it and doing something about it, we just keep adjusting and trying to say that this is our new normal. And we just keep adjusting. So I'm glad that you had found that. And yeah, and then everybody's different. Did you take to meditation right away? Because I know some people have trouble getting started. Or was it something you started a little at a time, or?
So I was really ripe for it that day when it happened to me, because I had been quarantining for, at that point, over 2 weeks alone. And prior to that, my lifestyle was just hopping on planes, whether it was for work or for personal enjoyment. So I realized how difficult it was to live with myself. And so I almost felt like I had ants crawling through my skin. I mean, I was very ripe for something to alleviate that level of anxiety. And so it was kind of like a divine timing. A friend of mine suggested I started following some meditations, and I said, oh yeah, I forgot that some people do this. And that was really kind of what I thought. And I said, okay, I've cleaned my kitchen too many times now. There's nothing for me to do really. So why not give this a try? And I do understand, because I was like that too. I mean, I had tried meditation in my life, just like I've tried yoga, and you try to like it, but it doesn't really like click. For me, I speak for myself. And so, sure. But in this moment, it was like I was thirsty for it and didn't realize how perfect that was for me in that moment, to learn how to practice self-care in one way. There's many ways that we can do that, but meditation, especially in the way that it was presented to me on that specific session, it was very much connecting with your inner child and, embracing the beautiful light and support that we have around us in life, and just discovering that there is this magical world that we can tap into that is rooting for us, and that, that basically lives on the frequency of love. Right. And so when we connect to that frequency, so many things start to fall into place from such a higher perspective, which is, a lot. It's just surprising when you've never been through it. So for me, it just had a huge impact. I was like, whoa, like, this is it. I mean, I've had 15 years of therapy, and I could have just sat here for an hour with the right guidance and the right prompts and found so easily this connection. So I don't think it was the first time, but I would say very early on in the beginning, maybe a few times after that, I started doing it every day. I just knew it was good for me. And then many rewards ensued from there.
And so you just kind of went from there and decided that you would be able to help others that were maybe stuck in the same place or could relate to.
Yeah, that was like an evolution. In the beginning, I had so many friends that we were all sharing with each other the experience of, the alternative experience we found ourselves in. And so I made a group of about like 40 or 50 or so people, and started sending them meditations that I had recorded in case it would help them, because it was also helping me. So I thought, why not share? And it wasn't like a goal of mine to bring that any further, because I was pursuing a career. I was, head of international sales. And in the beginning, it was just it was just discovering this new way to live and wanting to share it, as I would let someone know, hey, this restaurant is amazing. Like, and the prices are great. Like, you should go try this food. So it was more like, you should try this. This is amazing. Like, so I sent it to my friends, and it wasn't until a year after that I met someone along my path who listened to something that I had put together, and she said, wow, and she's a healer, and she said, oh my goodness, you're so neutral and so connected to the universe. Like, do you realize, what this is? And I said, no, I mean, I received good feedback, but, it's just something here. She said, no, you should, how many of these do you have? And I said, I have 72. She was like, you have 72? I was like, yeah, I just wrote them, it was helping me. And so it really just kind of picked up from there. And then, when I realized that I could put a book together and make it into something more accessible, later on, again, another year after that, that's when I finally decided to leave my job so that I could pursue both the book publishing and other projects that are, that involve meditation in a way that's accessible to those who may not find it so easy to adjust to in the beginning. So my meditations are more like the California role of meditation. So it's like what you start with. If you're not so comfortable being in silence, there right. are many whispers and guidances that create the space for revelation or relaxation or whatever it is that we need from ourselves when we're listening to something.
So was one of the first things you did then was creating the Holy Shiver? Because I know that you're the founder of that. And what all does that?
Holy Shiver, yeah.
Oh, Holy Shiver, sorry. Shiver.
So like many things, so even the book title that I wrote in the end, it started off kind of as a joke, Holy Shiver. So this was even before this all started. A friend of mine and I, we were making fun of meditation because we couldn't get into it so much. It felt cheesy to us. So initially it was a joke. Initially it was like, let's make ironic meditations. And then, we came up with the name Holy Shiver because it kind of sounds like, I don't know if I can curse, but it sounds like.
Yeah, I got it.
Exactly.
We can fill in the blanks.
Exactly. So that was the initial thing. But Holy Shiver also means, I don't know if in your journey, you've ever experienced moments of like heightened revelation. So we're always growing, but sometimes you're like, ooh, this one is hitting differently. Like, I feel like I've just received some really impactful insight. And that is sometimes referred to as like the holy shiver, like, where maybe you just feel like you've really just connected to something extremely valuable. So that was, the idea is also now the definition I go by is more so that moment of, wherever it is, whenever it happens, you never know what's going to strike the right note. When you hear something that can be so simple, but in that moment, it gives you the message that you so badly needed to hear from yourself. And so that is the idea behind Holy Shiver. And a new banana is really just, I just figured everybody likes bananas, or at least they know what, I think every country in the world has access to bananas. So, and then, so I wrote the book calling it that. And I just found out recently, a friend of mine went to a museum about bananas in Zurich. And we share like 25 or 50% of our DNA with bananas. So it's not even so far off. It actually are bananas.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes we feel like everything's kind of bananas. So it's kind of, kind of fitting. But it's a new banana. What is it? Unpeel. I know it's about unpeeling.
Unpeel yourself and elevate your relationships.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, because in the end, it's really not so much about, it's about taking off these layers that we put on ourselves, even with good intentions, but are they really serving us now? In the past, maybe yes, but sometimes a lot of the things that we think we are constructed by moments in our lives that kind of forced us to become in such a way in order to do what we thought we needed to do to survive. And when you take away so many of these layers, like, what's really left is who you are at your core, and then you can build from there and be living in the present and not so conditioned, and so you could be more free in your choices.
I've had that discussion with a few people, because I'm like, the more you keep going, you keep doing what was expected of you, to do, or what you thought was expected, or however you perceived it, but you kind of start to lose yourself, and you just wind up going, I call them rat races, robot modes, whatever you want, but you just start going through this, and you kind of really start losing, who you really are. So I love that concept. I think that's a good analogy for it, though. I like that.
Of course. And the more you lose who you are, the more you don't even recognize it. You get to a point where you really don't even realize it. And so you're living in some kind of an illusion where it's being supported even by other people who are making similar choices. At least for me, this was the case. I was, I didn't have access to that inner voice any longer.
Right.
That was knocking on my door saying, something is wrong. So,
and your book just came out recently, wasn't it?
Yeah, this summer. And I just finished the audiobook.
Okay.
So the book is currently on Amazon, and it's going to be very soon distributed across a variety of retailers, I think also Target. And the book is also now on Audible, but by the way, it takes 30 days for it to be up. So it's passed the quality checks, and now they need to do whatever they do on their end to put it up, and it should be on Audible and Spotify and a few other sources. But as of right now, the one place I can guarantee its availability is Amazon. So
And there's a link to that too on your website as well, I believe, right?
yeah, on holyshiver.com, there's a link. And also on my Instagram, which is holy_shiver, there's a link underneath my profile, and it has it has also free resources. So if anybody wants to try 3 guided meditations, they can be downloaded, and they're about 12 to 15 minutes long. And those are also available through the website.
I'll have to go back and look at that. I know I ordered the book. I ordered it on the Kindle version, so I can just pop it up and read it wherever I'm at. So I know it's available for Kindle on Amazon, but
it is.
yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's
So
really nice.
I'm excited to read it. But so what do you have on the horizon? What's your new projects? What you got going?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I'm putting together a project which involves meditations that are more corporate meditations. So meditations for the corporate world, which are going to be only up to 10 minutes long. So very, very quick meditations addressing specific moments during the workday where one might be interested in a pick-me-up or motivation or connection to something greater in the middle of, feeling overwhelmed by the day. And I developed like a specific format for them, like a format which follows like kind of like a methodology. And so hopefully this project will come forward next year. I have I'm working with some amazing people on putting together a roadmap and hopefully some funding. So that's coming together soon. And reason for that is because most of my unnecessary suffering happened while I was at work. I mean, when we spend 50 hours a day at work, but it didn't have to be that way, because work can be really purposeful and enjoyable. And I think they say your target audience is you 5 years ago. So I was like, so for me, it just it really resonates for me to bring that back into a place that I was in not so long ago.
And that you struggled with, and now you can help others. That's cool. I like that. Do you do retreats? Because I know Italy is a beautiful place. I've been to Venice, but I know Italy's got a lot of beautiful places to do retreats. Do you have any coming up?
I do, and there's I think in the spring, in March, we'll be doing one in Umbria, which is like it's a region about 4.5 hours south of Milan, and they have like 600 olive trees, and you don't even hear, the only thing you hear is the butterfly fluttering its wings if you're resting yourself on a hammock. So it's a beautiful place, and the retreat will be interesting because I think I'll be working with a partner of mine, and she does psychotherapy setting as well. So it's like working together between meditation and psychology. So within, and as well as like yoga and these kinds of activities. So bringing body, mind, and soul in one place in the middle of Italy with amazing food. But if people are curious to be updated on that kind of stuff, they can certainly message me on a newsletter. I also do private retreats if people have enough people that want to put something together. And I also have like a network of really, really talented music players and yoga teachers. And so this is always a possibility.
Nice. Yeah. Well, when you do put those or please add the information in the group so people know when they're coming up, or
I would love to.
So they can take part. But yeah, I mean, that's what the group's for. So absolutely put that up there, and we'll definitely be putting your website information up so that people can get your book. But I really want to thank you for taking the time for joining us and sharing what you do and how you got there. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. It's been really so nice to get to know you as well. Like when we spoke the last time, and just what you're doing right now and how you're transforming your story for others now and giving back. It's like, we need more of this. So
thank you. I appreciate it. And when I work my way back out there, because I do plan on traveling back over there into Europe and all that stuff and seeing things again. It's been a while since I've been there, but I'll definitely have to look you up and say, hey, I'm in the area.
Absolutely. I think it's Milan is really like the best airport to fly into because the flights cost less when you come into Milan. And so
Well, there
happy
you
to
go.
welcome you here and help you with whatever train destination is up for next. So
Yeah, we were stationed at Germany at the time, so we drove to Venice to pick up the guys when it was done, and then we drove back. So got to see a lot
wow.
of beautiful countryside, but yeah, we
That's
enjoyed it.
very scenic. Oh, that's so beautiful. Yeah, that's the nice part of Italy too. The part next to Germany is has some really interesting history as well. So
Yeah, definitely. Well,
really,
thank you very much for taking the time and for being here with us. And everybody, like I said, the information will be in the comments below in the group. So, you know, if with whatever she says resonates with you, absolutely reach out to her, contact her. That is what this group is for, is building those connections and collaborations. So I want to wish everyone a wonderful weekend, because we are coming up on the weekend, and we'll see everybody next week. So,
bye.
bye-bye.